This crazy clip of Ellen DeGeneres exposes her for being rude to a literal child as well as the kid's translator.
Well, don't just ask him. Don't look at me and go, I don't know.
For years, Ellen preached kindness, but it turns out that there was another rude side to her all along, and this side really came out when she interviewed an 11-year-old ukulele player from Taiwan named Fang Yi on her show.
Electric guitar, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What else do you want to learn?
Fang Yi spoke mostly Chinese, so there was a translator sitting right next to Ellen. But instead of appreciating the translator's help, Ellen was insanely mean to her. The translator started translating everything that Ellen said.
你现在在学怎么
But before she could even get to the question, Ellen jumped in.
Just one question. Just what else does he want?
This really showed Ellen's ignorance. Obviously, Chinese and English are not the same language. They work differently. So asking something in Chinese might take a little longer than asking the same thing in English. But there's more. Listen to what Ellen said next.
I don't know what you're telling him, but just ask him what I'm saying.
The translator then laughed and was kind of apologetic. But here's the thing. According to other Chinese speakers, the translator was literally translating everything Ellen said. When Ellen asked her question, she didn't just ask that one question. She mentioned that Fang Yi already played another instrument, and then she asked if there was anything else he wanted to learn. It really wasn't just a simple one-sentence question. So her behavior just didn't make any sense. It was extremely rude to the poor translator, who then quickly finished what she was saying.
你现在还想学什么？
See, that was that short.
Ellen's comments were extremely arrogant and unprofessional, but it got even worse. The translator then told Ellen what instrument Fang Yi wanted to learn next.
So a fingerstyle guitar.
But Ellen didn't like this answer.
A finger style? What's a finger style?
Obviously, the translator didn't know what exactly this guitar technique was, which is understandable. Fang Yi just described it as a finger-style guitar, and that was all the information the translator had. She translated everything correctly, but she clearly just didn't have a ton of knowledge about guitar playing, which makes sense, since that's clearly not part of her job. Finger-style guitar is a term in English that is actually used, so this wasn't a translation mistake. This was just Ellen and the translator not being familiar with something. But when the translator shrugged, Ellen decided to attack her again.
Ask him. Don't look at me and go, I don't know. We're not having a conversation. I'm asking him what is a finger style?
Obviously, Ellen's attitude was incredibly dismissive and inappropriate, but it still got worse because this was when she started getting rude to Fang Yi himself. She made the translator ask him what fingerstyle guitar was, and when he started explaining it, she jumped in again.
就是只单
Never mind. Okay.
She shut down a little child because she couldn't be patient enough with someone speaking a different language. She treated both her guest and the translator horribly, and she didn't seem to realize that at all. At a different point in the interview, she also said that the kid was a talker, and overall she seemed annoyed throughout the whole segment, which is just insane. I can't believe she thought her behavior was in any way acceptable. At that point, she was a professional TV host who regularly interviewed people. She definitely should have known better. Plus, her guest was a child. It's insane that she had such an attitude toward an 11-year-old. She probably thought that it was okay to make comments about him because he couldn't understand her, but that's not how these things work. People can obviously sense when you're making a snide comment about them, and it's not just about the content. It's about other things as well, like the tone of your voice. The fact that Ellen basically treated Fang Yi like he was stupid is horrible, and I feel really bad for the translator, who was probably just doing her best. She might have even been nervous since she was on TV. It's just wild to me that Ellen chose to approach this interview in such a rude way. But at the same time, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, given everything we know about Ellen's history with some of her celebrity guests. Even though she always promoted kindness, Ellen had this pattern of being horrible to the people she interviewed on the show. From scaring them on purpose to asking invasive questions, she displayed a lot of alarming behavior. This ultimately led to her downfall because people started seeing through her façade, and they stopped buying her kind persona. One of the most notorious examples of this was her interaction with Dakota Johnson. This was a couple of years ago in 2019. Dakota was on Ellen's show and they talked about Dakota's birthday. Ellen tried to lie about not being invited to the party.
How was the party? I wasn't invited.
But Dakota wasn't having that.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited.
The awkward interaction went viral, and soon it became hard to ignore that Ellen wasn't as nice as she wanted everyone to believe. People started going through some of the other interviews Ellen did over the years, and what they found was shocking. For example, when Ellen interviewed Taylor Swift in 2013, she almost made her cry. She kept asking Taylor about her love life and insisting that Taylor dated Zac Efron. Taylor said that this just wasn't true, and she made it very clear that she was extremely uncomfortable with the topic of the conversation, especially once Ellen started questioning her about who one of her songs is about. It was just really clear that Taylor didn't want to talk about any of this, but Ellen kept pushing her. Another person that Ellen pushed a little too far was Mariah Carey. Mariah was on Ellen's show in 2008. At the time, there were rumors going around that she might be pregnant. Apparently, Ellen thought it would be a good idea to ask Mariah about this, which is already pretty insane, because that's obviously a really personal thing, and you don't just ask people if they're pregnant, because you can never know what they're going through and how this line of questioning might make them feel. Mariah was very obviously uncomfortable with the pregnancy questions.
You're pregnant. There's rumors. Don't discuss that.
But then it got even worse, because Ellen got them some adult beverages, if you know what I mean, and she tried to force Mariah to reveal her pregnancy that way by either drinking or not drinking. Mariah obviously refused to participate in that.
It's too early for me.
But it was still just really strange to watch. Mariah told Vulture that she was extremely uncomfortable with that moment. And what made all this even worse was that not too long after the interview, Mariah actually had a miscarriage, which was just heartbreaking and probably only made worse by that terrible interview. Ellen also used to prank people with things that they were genuinely afraid of. She scared Kim Kardashian by saying that there was a spider, even though she knew that Kim had a massive phobia of spiders.
No, we've been through this before.
And one time, Ellen also pranked Channing Tatum with porcelain dolls, even though she knew he was really afraid of them.
Come on!
She then also got him to hold one, and when he refused, she got in his personal space and tried to make him kiss it.
I love you, Channing.
Channing made it pretty clear that he was uncomfortable with this, but Ellen just didn't seem to care, which again showed her rude and dismissive side. Throughout her show, Ellen also made some weird comments about other people's kids. She made fun of Celine Dion's son's hair, and when she had Drew Barrymore on, she made a joke about her young daughter drinking. This was especially insensitive because of Drew's history with addiction. Drew said that her daughter was 6 years old at the time, and Ellen joked that this was around the age when Drew started drinking. Drew did start drinking when she was very young, but something like that is obviously pretty serious, and Ellen's joke just seemed completely inappropriate and unnecessary. It's clear that the real Ellen is far from the perfect kind character that she portrayed for years. On her show, she was often quite rude to her guests. Whether it was someone famous or someone she invited on the show to help them, Ellen was often dismissive of them and made them uncomfortable for the sake of entertainment, which I think we can all agree is just not okay. But anyway, what do you guys think about all this? What do you think about how Ellen treated Fang Yi and the translator? And which of her celebrity interviews do you find the most awkward to watch? Let me know in the comments below.